Hey guys, it's Mark from Erickson Machine and Performance. In this video I'm going to go through CCing a two-stroke cylinder head. If you guys like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. Tell us in the comments below anything you guys want to see in the video, because that's what we want to know. We want to be able to help you guys out, and we appreciate everything everybody's been doing for us. I've been amazed at how quickly the channel's grown. And I really appreciate it, because without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So, what we're going to end up doing, we're going to CC a dome. So the first thing we're going to end up doing is we're going to just take a piece. This is the exterior painter tape. You can use clear packing tape, anything like that, but you need to end up having a tape that isn't going to get eaten by alcohol. So I cut just a little piece and just cover the spark plug hole like that. So you want it to be as small as possible so it takes up as little volume as possible. So now what we're going to do, this method works for a dome or a head all the same, and I'll go through how we do a head a little bit easier. This is just easier to show. So we're going to use a glass burette. We filled it, this burette's 50 cc, so we fill it a little past the top and then we drain it down, so that way we're perfectly at zero. Then when we fill this chamber, whatever number we end up being at will end up being how many cc's the dome is. So I take a piece of Lexan or PVC, Lexan or plexiglass, sorry. Drill a 1/4 inch hole in it and chamfer the hole. By chamfering the hole, it makes it easier for the alcohol to end up going through and not going over the edges to give you a false reading. So now that that's all done, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit. This is just waterproof grease, marine grease. Really, any type of grease will work. You want to just do a thin amount, and this is just kind of to glue it to the dome or the cylinder head while you test it. And you want to try not to go too far out where you're going to be affecting the volume, but far enough out that it actually glues to the dome. Alrighty. So now we're going to just squeeze this down on good and tight. And there that is. So now we will take the dome and set it under the burette and drop this down. Now it's tricky because I normally do this on a granite surface plate that's perfectly leveled. I'm doing it on our workbench because it's easier to videotape. So when it's filling, and also I wanted to make it where, if you're doing it in your home shop, odds of you having a granite surface plate that's perfectly leveled, pretty slim. Not saying that nobody has it, but it's a rarer thing to have. So while we're filling this, when we get close to the top, we're going to have to rock out the air bubble to get the proper reading. So now we got that all set up and we're going to start filling. So we crack the valve, and you don't want to go too fast where you overflow it. So we're just going to fill this up. Then when it starts to get close, I don't know if you saw that in the video, it just bubbled to the side. Now the bubble has moved. So now we want to fill that air void with alcohol. It's really important that you use alcohol instead of water, because if you use water, you'll actually you won't get to the corners and you'll get a false reading. So now we have it to where the bubble's to the side but not to the center, so we gotta kind of finagle it. to just fill the void and not overflow it. So we're going to go really slow as we do this. Perfect. There we go. So now we have it filled perfectly to the top but not overflowing, and everything's full. See if I can zoom in on that so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. So now this is completely filled and we are at 29 cc's. See if I can move this. So we can see it. So we're right there at 29 cc's, which is exactly where we want to be. This is a 29 cc dome. So now we're going to zoom back out. Alrighty. So this is the main method that you'd end up doing it. I'm just going to pour this in the cup so we don't waste it. Put it to the side, start draining it through the hole, and then crack the seal. And there you go. So now, let me just dry this off real quick so I'll make a huge mess. I don't know if you can see on here, but it's a 29 cc dome. It shows you that the method we used ended up being exactly 29 cc's. So that's how you would cc any type of head that uses an O-ring. The only difference with this type of dome, or most OEM heads that use head gaskets, is when we do this, we're checking this volume, but now we have a head gasket as well. That head gasket is also part of the head volume that you have to make up. And you can't, here's a stock head that's got a head gasket that stayed on it, but if we put grease on it and put it on, the alcohol would leak all over the place. We'd have a mess. We wouldn't have an accurate reading. So what we end up doing is we have to mathematically figure this out. So, this style Yamaha head gasket, when it's flattened, is around 50 thousandths thick. So we have to end up doing this mathematically. So I just worked this head out to show you guys. So the opening is 3-inch 230 thousandths, and when it's squished, it's 50 thousandths thick. So you can just go online and use a volume calculator for volume of a cylinder or a pipe, and figure out the volume quickly by putting these two numbers, and it'll tell you, it's 6.7 cc's or ml. A cc and an ml are the same size, just a different name. So doing one of these cylinder heads, we would do the same way by putting this on, leveling it, filling it, but then after whatever number we got from here, we would then have to add whatever the head gasket thickness volume is to end up getting the actual true head cc. So I hope this guy helped you guys out figuring out how to cc your heads. This is really good for some weird aftermarket heads, or if your head's ever been milled by somebody and they didn't mark it, something like that. It's fairly cheap to do. You could buy 10 cc syringes and do it that way. These burettes you can normally pick up fairly cheap as well. So it's not a difficult thing to do. Or you just send it to a shop like me and I'll be happy to check it for you. I needed to add one thing that I forgot. Alcohol and aluminum don't really mix. So as soon as you're done, wipe it down, and you should spray it down with like WD-40 or an oil, something like that. Because if you just leave the alcohol residue, it can actually cause it to oxidize. So, helpful tip, if you guys are going to do this, do that one last step when you're done with it. Spray it down with WD-40, whatever, dry it real good, and you're good to go. Just don't leave it, because you can end up damaging your head. So, well, I hope you guys liked the video. As I said in the beginning, if you like the videos, please subscribe to the channel. We've got some really cool ideas coming up soon with a flow bench showing porting, a whole bunch of different tutorials on how to port your own engine, stuff like that. So, hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching.